is a stream. Stream means what? Running water or natural body of running water flowing from the mountains to the plains. And stream is also called dhara in Nepali as well as in Hindi. Rivers that have water all the year round or all throughout the year are called perennial river. Why they are called perennial river is because the water of this river never dries up. Because the source of this river or the water of this river comes from the mountain. Most of these rivers rise in high snow-capped mountains. Snow-capped means the tip of the mountain is always covered with snow and gets water from the rain as well as melting snow, including the world's longest river, the Nile River, which are fed, or the Nile River is fed by the rain, though it lies in the rainy equatorial regions of Africa. The Nile River basically starts from equator and basically carries the water all through the vast Sahara Desert and empties its water into the Mediterranean Sea. Rivers that do not have water all the year round are called seasonal rivers because the water of this river occurs during a particular season. The place where a river originates or is born or arise or what we call, the root of the river is called the source of the rivers, which normally lies in the hills or mountains. As you know, river begins their journey from the mountain. So the mountain is the source of the river. And the place where the river ends or meets or flows into an ocean or a sea is called its mouth. I'm not talking about this mouth. I'm talking about the mouth of a river, which basically joins water to the large water bodies. It also flows sometimes into the lakes or into another river that is also called a mouth. But it might be the mouth of the inland lakes, the lakes which are found inside the land. Here the river forms the delta. Now what is a delta? Delta is a triangular shaped area. It is one of the fertile areas. And it is the area where a river divides before entering into a large water body like oceans or seas. The land on either side of a river forms its bank. So at the side of the river, what do you find? Banks. Now there is a sloping land, beside the body of this river. That is called banks. Now what are tributaries? Now I just want to draw a picture of the tributary here on the blackboard so that you can basically understand what is a tributary. Tributary is a small river, which joins, like this is a small river which joins the main river. This is called a tributary. So I'm showing with an arrow so that you can understand where this river is flowing. So this is the main river, so I'm writing main here. And these are small rivers, so I'm writing small. So the small river, which when it joins the main river, that is called a tributary. Are you getting my point? Now, another point that we are going to discuss here is distributaries. Now, I'm going to rub this, But before rubbing it, please, you can also jot it down in your rough copy. What is a tributary? Is it visible? Now I'm rubbing the blackboard. Now I'm going to show you the distributary. Now distributary is a main river when basically it branches out into a number of channels, like an arm of a person. When it branches out, it branches out into a number of limbs like fingers. This is called to distribute or distributary. So the main river, when it branches out into a number of small channels or small rivers, is called a distributary. So the main river is giving water to the smaller rivers, and these rivers are basically narrow. This river is basically broad. So distributaries are small rivers that flows of the main river. The path of the river, from its origin, from the root or from the birthplace to the end point, is basically called its course. Now, what is a course? Course means C-O-U-R-S-E. Course means path or a track or a route. Now, I don't think so you have a picture of that in your book, but I'm going to draw it on the blackboard so that you can understand, okay, what course I am talking about. So, I'm making a picture here. Okay, this marker is not working. I'm drawing a big diagram here so that I can show two pictures here all together. Now, the river basically starts from the mountain. So I'm drawing a little bit mountains here, and it basically goes down like this way. It basically goes down like this way and basically enters the sea or oceans. So when it enters the sea or oceans, I'm drawing a sea here, sea or oceans. Okay, now I'm going to divide this into three parts. The first part, okay, the whiteboard marker. The second board marker and the third board. Okay, now when I'm talking about the stages of a river, there are three stages. The first stage, this is called the upper course. Okay, hope you can understand my handwriting. Number two, that is the second stage. Okay, marker is not working. The second stage is called the middle course, that is the middle course. And the third stage is called the lower course. Now, before going to the details, I just want to tell you, this is the young river. This is the mature river. And this is the old river. So this is young, Y-O-U-N-G, young. This is mature. And this is old. Now, if you look here, the river is born from the mountain. Therefore, the source of the river lies in the mountains. The source of the river lies in the mountains. And where the river ends, it ends into the sea or oceans. So this becomes the mouth of the river. Marker sayo. Mouth of a river. This becomes the mouth of a river. So I'm going to discuss this in detail. So the course of the river, as it is born from the mountains. And it has got three stages: the upper course, the middle course, and the lower course. In every stage, it forms several landforms, or what we call geological features like mountains, valleys, plateaus, etc., trenches, etc., or shapes the land due to endogenic and exogenic forces, which are the processes that shapes the landforms of the earth. And as they flow, as the work of the river starts, as they flow, they basically starts eroding the land. That is called erosion, the mechanical process of weathering. Erosion degradation or fragmentation of the rock particles. There are various landforms which are formed by the work of a river, like waterfalls. Now, have you seen a waterfall? Now, what is a waterfall? Just I want to define that waterfall, okay? A steep descent of water. A steep, okay, water is coming from a cliff. This water is coming from a river. And basically it's falling down from a cliff or an edge. That is called a waterfall. So waterfall, oxbow lakes. Now oxbow lakes, okay, it does not have horns. Remember that. Oxbow lake is a crescent-shaped lake. It's a lake. The crescent means, okay, basically, okay, crescent we can resemble, okay, to the first quarter of the moon or the half moon, okay, like this kind of moon. Like this kind of moon. The first quarter of the moon, when the new moon is being formed, that is called the crescent. A crescent-shaped lake is an oxbow lake that is formed when a meander. Now meander, what is a meander? Have you seen a river? Now river does not flow like this way, in a straight line. It flows in a loop. In a loop. That is a meander. That is a meander. Loop means curved line or a bend line. Now, not only oxbow lakes are formed, but also floodplains are formed. What are floodplains now? Now, floodplain is an area of land near the banks of the river. And how these floodplains are formed? When there is excess water on the land. When there is flood. When there is flood, it floods the land. When the water recedes back, it leaves behind valuable fertile soil which is good for agriculture. So waterfall, oxbow lakes, floodplains, and even delta, okay, the fertile land or at the mouth of the river is formed, okay, by this work of a river which flows from the mountains to the plains. The eroded material is called sediments. Now what is a sediment? Sediments means depositions, or what we call, okay, accumulations. Accumulation of mud. Mud is also called clay, silt, gravel. Gravel, what is gravel? Okay, fragmentation of rocks. Okay, these are basically brought down by the rivers from the mountain to the plains, which makes the soil of the plains very, very fertile. Therefore, you can see that you can grow many types of crops in the plains than on the hills or mountains. Now let's read the three stages of the river. Okay. Now we are going to the upper stage, the middle stage, and the lower stage. Okay. The upper course. The upper course is called the high course because it lies in the mountains. The river basically lies in the mountains. The upper course generally lies in the mountain where the land is steep. Now what is steep? Means high slopes. It has got high slopes. The river flows very swiftly because of the high slopes, because it lies in the mountain. Therefore you have, okay, rivers which are very, very fast and have currents. You can see the Tista river here also, which is okay, basically located in the hilly regions. You can see there are a number of, okay, rapids here. The river is also fast and it has got current, and you can also generate hydroelectricity from this river called Tista. Because of the landforms. Because of the landforms, the river is fast here. It is swift. S-W-I-F-T, swift. It is swift. The first point is that, okay, it lies in the mountain, and the second point is it has steep gradient. Steep gradient, G-R-A-D-I-E-N-T, gradient. The gradient of this area is steep. The river flows very swiftly at this stage because the river is young and very, very swift. It makes deep V-shaped valley. Now, what is a V-shaped valley? Now, you have learned about this V-shaped valley. This V-shaped valley is created by the river or by the running waters of the river or stream. Okay, and why it is named V-shaped? Because the V valley, okay, the shape of the V valley is like the letter V, and it is always found like this way. These are mountains, okay, these are interlock mountains. interlocking spurs, we call it. This is called interlocking spurs. I'm writing it here so that you can understand. Interlocking spurs. Spurs. This is called interlocking spurs because the mountain is locking itself, and in between the rivers, in between the mountains, you find rivers flowing like this way, and there is another mountain which comes like this way, which comes like this way. This is called interlocking spurs, and this shape is called a V-shaped valley. This shape is called a V-shaped valley. Okay. Now, in the upper coast, you find a V-shaped valley is formed. Which kind of features or landforms are created? So I'm writing land here. I'm writing land here so that you can understand which types of landforms are formed here. So the first landform that is formed here is V-shaped. The second landform that you find is gorges, gorges. Now gorges is a narrow means not wide, okay, valley in between the hills and the mountains. Now gorges is formed and even canyons is formed. Canyons, canyons is formed. Now canyon is basically larger than a gorge, but it is a valley only. Now after that, on this upper coast, which landforms are formed? Waterfalls. Waterfalls are formed. So these are the main features here: swift, steep, gradient. Okay, so steep gradient is found here, steep slopes is found here. The features are, okay, basically the landform features are basically V-shaped valley, gorges, canyon, waterfall is found here. And apart from that, I just want to write another thing also. But before, okay, you can copy this one first so that I can put a picture here. Now you have to write this one. But before writing this one, okay, I'm just going to rub this one a little bit so that, okay, you can understand what kind of landform is formed here. Now, in this mountain, a V-shaped valley, okay, now this board marker is not working. A V-shaped valley is formed here. But here, you find a U-shaped valley is formed. And you find here there is a flat valley which is formed. Now there is a water table here. Now if you look here, this is a V-shaped valley, so I'm writing V-shaped, and this is a U-shaped. So as the river basically progresses or leaves the mountain, it forms a U-shaped valley. And as the river basically enters into the lower stage, it forms a flat leveled valley. Now this is the landform that we are going to understand. Now another thing, okay, I'm writing is this is number 1, this is number 2, this is steep. Okay, I'm coming to the next one later on. Now you can see it is narrow also here because there is a narrow valley formed. Now what kind of landforms are formed here? Waterfalls, then gorges, 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 then canyon, then okay, and even rapids. Sorry, I forgot to mention this one: rapids or cataracts, which are basically the fast flowing river basically generates rapids, and because of the rapids we are able to row a boat. In Tista River we basically row a boat because of the help of the rapids. Okay, now we are going to the middle course. The middle course, that time I told you, that is called the mature course of the river. As the river comes out of the mountain and enters what kind of land? Flat land. Now you can see there is not a flat land, but it has got, okay, a moderately gentle slopes. Okay, and therefore it is called a flat level plain. The speed of the river in the middle course decreases. The speed of the river in the middle course decreases. Why it decreases? Because it enters into the flat leveled plain. This is a flat, okay, leveled plain. and this is the MTS mountains. So as the river enters the middle course, okay, so the speed of the river decreases as it flows to the area that have got gentle slopes. So what is the slope gradient here? Here where it was steep, here it is, okay, gentle. GENTLE, okay. The marker is not working, you can understand, okay, what I'm writing there. It is called gentle. GEN. Not a single marker is working. Marker work करे no. GENTLE, gentle slope, okay. Now this stage is called the middle course. Now in this stage the river basically, okay, deposits, okay, or drops down the things that it has carried from the mountains. That time I was telling you that the river basically carries mud, silt, gravel or sediments from the mountains, and this is the place where it deposits. The river starts to drop the silt and sand. What is silt? Now it's a mud or a clay or small rocks, okay, deposited by rivers on the way in the middle course. And sand. Do you know what is a sand? That it has carried down from above, from the mountains. This forms the rich alluvial plains. Now alluvial is a fertile soil. Now I'm going to say what is alluvial. Okay, let's read this line. The fine alluvium makes the plains ideal for farming. The fertile soil of this area makes agriculture possible or perfect for farming or growing of crops. The alluvium is made of clay, silt, gravel carried by, okay, running streams or rivers and deposited where the streams and rivers slows down. During the monsoon season, now do you know what is a monsoon season? The monsoon season is basically, the monsoon wind is basically associated with the Indian Ocean because it starts from there. Now monsoon basically blows from the cold area to a hot area. So it not only influences the climate of a place or weather of a place, okay, but also during this particular season, that is, okay, throughout rainfall in the Indian subcontinent. So often it floods the blank. Excess water is found on the land, and the water spreads far and wide in this particular season because of this prevailing or strong winds of Asia. Now if you see, when this water of the flood goes back, okay, from the land to the rivers, it leaves behind the fertile soil and makes this land very rich in humus and, okay, fertile ingredients of the mountains. That is called the fertile soil or alluvium soil. And it is at this middle course the river starts to swing or sway, okay, or move in a zigzag pattern. That is called the loop.